The floater in my eye is not normal. I can't stop seeing it. That thing is everywhere I go. I don't know why this is happening, but no matter where I look, it's always watching me. I can't even sleep. I still see it when I close my eyes, and I beg, plead just to have some peace, some rest, because staying awake is more terror than you can imagine. You see, it's in my eyes, and no matter how much I rub them, doing my best to drain the sludge that accumulates, it's there. At this point, I think I have the solution of how to make it go away. But before I do, I have to warn anyone and everyone that might someday see it. It started off as a prank. Nothing serious. Me and my friends are known in our little town as the Teen Hooligans. We don't do anything crazy. Usually, we just hang out in the midnight hours spray painting the walls of our school. They know it's us because we tend to leave our names. I know, but we're kids. April Fool's was soon approaching, a day and me and my friends relished knowing it was practically ritual to haze our fellow classmates. We gathered during lunch discussing an endless amount of pranks, and soon, the perfect idea came to mind. A timeless classic. I suggested for us to make a stink bomb. Something we could do during chemistry. I could see my friends' faces light up with enchantment from the suggestion, each and every one of them expressing a devilish twinkle in their eyes. Before class, I googled how to make the perfect stink bomb, and as I read through several forums, all the science jargon virtually gave me a headache. But I stayed resolved, with absolute confidence as I met up with my friends. We followed the instructions to the T, adding extra ingredients here and there, making sure this prank would be the mother of all. We planned on detonating the bomb during the school pep rally, an idea that made me giggle. I could picture the cheerleaders running in disgust. As we mixed and stirred the hard tonic, my friend Billy started horsing around.
Let's make sure we shake it good,
he said as he gyrated the bottle in a gesturing lewd manner. That's when some of the chemicals splashed in my eyes. Ah! Damn it, Billy! Look what you did! I screeched out with pure rage protruding from my voice. I happened to be the biggest of all my friends, and as I continued rubbing my eyes trying to ease the burning sensation, I could hear Billy sniveling out an apology. I pushed him away like a rag doll and stormed towards the eye wash station. After several minutes of cool water soothing my irritated eyes, my vision was back to normal. And I turned to my friends. I could see the terror practically melting off of Billy's face as I stepped closer to him. But by this point, I just wanted to go home. The next morning is when I first saw the smudge. It was only in one eye. At first, I thought nothing of it. I rubbed my eyes several times and, for the moment, it seemed to go away. As the day progressed, that smudge would only return. I didn't want to go to the doctor, so I did what most would do. That is, I Googled my symptoms. According to WebMD, I most likely suffered a slight chemical burn to my cornea, and it should be healed in about a week. I sighed out in relief, understanding I could handle a bit of discomfort. After all, I was still focused on our prank. The next day waking up, I realized there it was again. That smudge. But this time, it got worse. Now, it was in both eyes. But the most bewildering part was how it would seem to come and go. I didn't have to rub my eyes to clear my vision. Rather, it seemed as if the blurriness would come in spurts. I felt trepidation consuming my emotions, but I did my best to ignore it, reminding myself of what I read online. Arriving at school, I treated Billy a bit more distant, perturbed to the fact that he caused all this. We all agreed on where we would stash the stink bomb. Under the bleachers. It was the perfect hiding spot. We cautiously made our way to the football field, doing our best not to draw any attention. And as I led my crew over to the bleachers, I noticed a strange figure hiding in the shadows that lied underneath. The unusual figure seemed to be staring at us, and as we stepped nearer, a bit of horror seeped into the forefront of my mind. That shadow was enormous. It had to be at least 10 feet tall. Wait, do you guys see that? I whimpered out quietly to my friends. They all just stared at each other in a bit of confusion, not understanding what I was talking about. That's when Billy approached the dark and secluded space. I could feel my skin crawl from disquietude as I saw that dark shadow tower over Billy. And before my mind could adjust to the situation, that figure disappeared.
There's no one here,
Billy said. I remained still and unmoved, not wanting to get any closer. And as I rubbed my eyes, the darkness that once engulfed the small space underneath the bleachers slowly dissipated, leaving a presence of shimmering light. My friends just looked at me, confounded by my frightened behavior. I said nothing, and played it off, knowing that I had to assert my dominance over my small crew. We placed the stink bomb in the center of the bleachers, and hid it underneath several jackets, hoping the school janitor didn't unwillingly find it. The pep rally was the next day, and we would watch in the distance as all the school jocks and cheerleaders got sprayed by the stench of our devious prank. Walking home from school that day, I noticed that Smudge was gone. But now, I would occasionally see a floater in my eye. No, not a floater, but more like a shadow. By this point, my irritation had morphed into pure disturbance, and I couldn't stop scratching in my eyes, trying to ease the inconvenience. That's when a haunting revelation became vivid. Anytime I would walk by some dark, infested space, I would see that same figure I saw earlier in the day. It looked almost like a man. A tall and slender man. Its fragile frame seemed as if it would break into two pieces by the slightest touch. I just ignored it. It had to be the scar tissue that was forming on my cornea. There was no figure in the shadows. It was just my mind playing tricks on me. And as I passed more and more alleyways, I could almost hear a monstrous growl projecting into the air. And at this point, the fear that was slowly creeping its way into my thoughts conquered me, and I ran home like some coward. I woke up the next morning, a bit befuddled, not even remembering what time I had fallen asleep. As I gathered my thoughts, scratching in my head, I noticed my room was a bit more dim than normal. My first thought was that I had woken up too early, but glancing at my phone, it appeared I was actually running a bit late. As my gaze shifted around in the darkness, I soon realized I had left my closet door wide open. And soon I could see the void of emptiness pouring out of the small space. I squinted my eyes, trying to see through the haze of desolation, knowing what lay in the shadows. I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand while a bit of sweat accumulated on my brow. I could feel my heartbeat thunder even louder. I pulled the covers halfway up my face, trying to shelter my mind from the beast that laid in the beyond. And soon, I could hear that sinister growl inundate my room. I was frozen in place from fear, and as I stared on with disbelief, that dreadful figure started to crawl out of the closet. I shut my eyes tightly, trying to disillusion myself from the horrid nightmare that was unfolding in front of me. But that's when I realized, even with my eyes closed, I could still see it. It slithered its way out of the small closet and crawled up my ceiling like some demonic spider. Soon, it was hovering above me. I tried screaming out for my parents, but my voice was lost. And that's when my phone rang, snapping me out of whatever trance I was in. And with that, my room returned to normal. The sun seeping through my window as the birds chirped outside. That creature was gone. Arriving at school, I did my best to convince myself that the whole ordeal had been some sleep paralysis nightmare. I've had those before, and usually I'm able to wake up from them pretty quickly. But for whatever reason, this time I couldn't. I tried my best to shake off the trepidation that simmered around me and projected my thoughts onto the prank. It was the day of the pep rally, and I needed a good laugh after having such a traumatic dream. Throughout the day, I could feel my anxiety spike anytime I passed by a dark and secluded space, almost as if the eyes from that beast were following me. But I remained strong and willed. I just had to make it to the end of the day, reminding myself this still was some issue relating to the chemical burns from my eyes. Finally, the sound of the school bell rang out, showering our hallways with its chime as all of my fellow classmates marched towards the football field. My friends were all giggling, ready to unleash the repulsive stench. Several of my friends remained on the field away from the bleachers, but me and Billy went to the rooftop of the gymnasium, it overlooking the field. The detonator was an app on my phone, and as we waited for my other friends to get into place, I noticed how dark it was once again underneath the bleachers, and that all too familiar feeling of dread engulfed my mind. I rubbed my eyes several times, but I knew that thing was there. You know what, man? Let's call it off, I told Billy. A perplexed expression formed on his face. He then snatched my phone out of my hand.
Man, you've been acting weird for days. This is our prank too, and we're going to do this,
he told me as a malicious snarl grew on his face. Billy pressed the button on the app, but nothing happened, and a bit of relief washed over me as my friend grunted out in frustration.
I'm gonna check it out. You stay up here, and when I wave at you, press the detonator again, okay?
He told me. I tried to stop him from going down there, but I remained silent and unmoved, almost as if I was reliving that horrid sleep paralysis dream all over again. All I could do is continue looking over the field as Billy approached the bleachers. I was surprised no one saw him, and soon he disappeared into the darkness. My breathing became heavy as my gaze still fixated on that void of emptiness, and to my delight, I saw Billy emerge. I breathed a sigh of relief as he gestured a thumbs up to me, indicating the bomb was good to go. But that's when I saw the creature's long, slender arm break through the void, its hard hand virtually the size of Billy. And that's when that thing grabbed him. I could see the look of terror in Billy's face as he screamed out in horror, begging for help. And within seconds, that beast sucked him into the desolate void. Finally, my limbs returned to me and I ran to the field. The pep rally still going on. It was as if no one ever heard Billy's cries for help. And as I approached the bleachers, I saw he was gone, along with that figure. Even our stink bomb was nowhere to be seen. What's the matter with you people? Didn't you hear him screaming for help? I yelped out at the crowd. Everyone just stared at me with complete bewilderment. I don't know what happened to Billy, but whenever I bring him up with my other friends, they pretend like he never existed. In fact, they don't even remember us placing the stink bomb under the bleachers. I know I'm not crazy, because I still see that figure in the corners of my room anytime there is darkness. I try to close my eyes, but it's always there, looking at me haunting me. I've decided the only thing I could do is cut my own eyes out. And maybe finally I could get some rest, some peace, and escape. But before I do, I've noticed a new symptom to my madness. It's a sound. It's faint, but it seems to be getting louder. It's Billy. And I hear him crying out for help. Hi guys. Hopefully you liked the story. I don't know. I feel like I had a bit of writer's block this week. So, I don't know. It's weird. Sometimes when I write these stories or write anything, I like to write. So, anytime I write, usually like my fingers are just typing with such conviction, and like I feel the story just pouring out of me. Almost like if I'm not the one writing it, you know? Perhaps it's some ghost. I don't know. But I don't know. I kind of struggled this week. So hopefully you liked it, or hopefully it made sense. And as usual, leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Like the video. And if you like the kind of stories I write, consider subscribing. Anyway, hope you have a great weekend. And I hope you have a great week. And I'll see you on the next video. Alrighty, guys. Bye.